Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers to... Okay. Check. Oh.
Now we can hear you.
Wait. All right. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Anon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Gal is here.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. And Katie's with us. And she's muted.
Good morning.
Yeah,
I'm also having mic problems.
That's
Okay.
all right. That's okay. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is being brought to you by VMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Yeah, we had our share of technical problems this morning, but everything seems to be okay now, except it's still switching. So
yeah, I'm gonna leave
bear
meeting.
with us. What?
I'm gonna leave the meeting. So I'm just reading a blog post about downgrading your Zoom client, and if one person does that, it fixes it. So I'm gonna drop out for a couple of minutes, uninstall Zoom, and install an old client and see what happens. So we'll do some live troubleshooting on the air.
You mean by downgrading Zoom and joining the meeting? But if there's
this is
one...
what the post says, and I'll throw a link to this in chat. Gal turned me on to it.
Yeah, I found it.
I gave you credit. Have no fear. I'm not taking credit for it.
I found it, and I see what you're meaning, and I hope this works. Let's try.
This guy says, I've experienced the same thing. I managed to track it to a difference of versions. If you downgrade at least one of your participants to Zoom 5.10.7, everything works fine. Active speakers can switch to a participant that is unmuted still. It seems completely random. I've been trying to explain this to Zoom. So
okay, and can I go ahead and downgrade? Will that make it? I mean, after the show?
No, it says just one of your participants.
Yeah, but Amnon, to your question, if you downgrade, following conversation, following meetings will probably be fixed because your side.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That works.
You know,
that's
this way you guys don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, you don't do it during the show.
No. Okay,
so
sorry.
Enjoy your conversation. Maybe I won't come back. Maybe this is my my big ruse to escape from.
When you do come back, let us know if you needed a reboot, because that is going to be annoying.
Why? Why?
Stand by. I'll hopefully be back at some point. Goodbye.
All right.
This was all an elaborate plan to get Nick to leave. Okay, now let's talk some crap.
Well, what's been happening? I mean, I've got something to talk about with Gal over Plex this week.
Nothing that I know of. We'll see. I mean, one thing, maybe that's what you're going to talk about, is Plex had a breach.
Yeah.
And they blasted an email to all of their subscribers that they have detected the breach, that the only thing that was exposed was their username passwords. Credit card information and other personal information was not exposed, which is good. They found somebody they found an open connection, and I think some processes in their systems that they weren't expecting to see, and so that is what led to the blast. I think if that is the extension of what happens, then it's probably they probably handled it very well. I mean, as well as they can, right? We'll see. I don't think there's any real fallback unless people are using the same login for Plex as their bank accounts, right? But yeah, so that happened.
So yeah, but okay. So what I was going to talk about is I saw that message and I checked, and sure enough, it came from Plex. I mean, headers and all that.
Right.
And I went ahead and followed they had instructions of how to do it. One of the steps was to log off and disconnect from all the devices after you change the
why
password.
They recommended that.
I know, but that's what I was going to talk about. So disconnect from all your devices. Okay, so I did that and stopped working. I couldn't I could log in, but the TV couldn't connect. If I was trying to see the live TV or whatever was recorded on my DVR, there was no connections. There was a bunch of orange triangle notices. So I went and looked some more. And why can't I connect? And there was something about that you have to reclaim your server. This is not part of these instructions. This is part of their FAQs, kind of.
Yeah.
And they tell you how to do it. And I'm going there, and there is no such button. And I'm following it again from the beginning, and I'm saying, okay, click this. On the left, you should see a button that says claim your server. It's not there.
That's so the reason is that you never logged into your server.
Okay.
So let's remind. So the problem is the instructions were not, how should I say, dumbed down enough, and they made some assumptions that the people who read it understood their architecture a bit better. They made some assumptions, and all of them were bad. One of the assumption was you understand how the architecture of the system works. And second is their recommendation and their automatic security measures are a bit stupid. I'll explain the second, then I'll explain the first. So that option to disconnect all devices includes not only clients, but also servers, right? And so because Plex handles the authentication for you, you can work locally, but if you want all of the features Plex supplies, the ones that you paid for especially,
right,
you rely on Plex to authenticate, because that's how Plex decides whether you have the license or not, etc. And so you authenticate at plex.tv, their domain, and that authentication will authorize whoever's logged in to access whoever server they have access via the Plex ecosystem. Sorry if I said too many words, but that's approximately what's going on. And so when you are going to Plex TV, you can only authenticate with other devices that have already authenticated with Plex TV. One of those devices is your server. Your server cannot get sensitive information or not sensitive, but security level information, unless there is a handshake. I know you, you know me from the server, right? And so what happened is that when you chose, by their recommendation, to log off all existing devices, you also kicked off your server from that connection. So now you need to reestablish it. And that's what they call claiming it. Okay. But in order to claim it, you need to do it from the server. So logging into Plex.tv, which you usually do to access your server, won't work because Plex TV right now is disconnected from your server.
Right.
So you need to log into the local IP. Now, the thing is, because of the convenience of the login process by Plex, when you access Plex.tv, the application through a web browser in your LAN, it goes outside. It doesn't go internally. If they would have done some MDNS routing, maybe that will work. And then you would be directed internally to your network. But they don't do it. And so you need to know your local IP and then access it on the web URL, and then you can authenticate to your server. And so once you log in, again, with Plex TV through it, there's a handshake. It'll see that the local server and Plex TV are not in sync, and it'll give you the offer to claim the server. And then you assign the login, the Plex TV login, to the server. That is what was missing out of the instructions, because just me explaining it here was confusing, too confusing, right?
So what did you do to suddenly pop up the claim thing on my screen?
I didn't do anything. All you needed to do was access Plex locally on your IP, on your local LAN IP.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. You told me to go to the one I need to. Yeah.
All I did was I connected remotely and checked that that's available, but I didn't do anything.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is that it stopped working and I didn't know what to do at that point. I mean, I don't want to mess it up. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to do anything anymore. So today we won't be able to rewind. I logged into the HD Home Run app and we can still watch TV, all the stations and everything. And then Gal got in and later on in the day, and took him a few minutes. And
I can tell you this. They could have saved themselves a lot of trouble, because I'm guessing you're not the only one who
probably not
would face this after this. That disconnect all devices should have an additional option, or should ask a question afterwards. And the disconnect all devices should only disconnect all client devices and leave server devices on.
Alone. Yeah.
And then you should go, right? Or it should list you a list of servers and ask, do you want to disconnect all of these servers, right? And if you see something suspicious, then you say, yeah, and then you go through this trouble. It's just the hassle was not worth it.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
And that's and I thought about, okay, now the server has to talk to them, and I'm changing my login into the app, into the web, and I said, well, I probably have to change something on the server itself, and I don't know how to do that. I never done it before, so I went ahead and changed my password back to the old one, figuring, okay, it's still on the server, the old one.
Yeah.
So now it will be able to talk to it. But nope, it did not.
So the reason that didn't work is a good reason. It is because the server does not know your credentials at all. All that happens is when you authenticate, there's a hash, there's a key exchange, and that key is unique to that device. Okay. That is how OAuth works, right? You log in using a certain system, let's say Google, right? You log in using that. There's an exchange. You can now go change your password and that exchange will not expire unless you tell it to, right? So it's safe and it's unique, right? And so that's why even changing back to the same password won't work. But that's a good thing. That means security is actually designed properly for these connections.
Well, it was fixed, and that's it. So I'm gonna. I meant to
I've
do
got a
this.
Plex.
Yeah,
I've got a Plex problem as well. I don't know if it's a problem. The last couple of movies that I own that I used my Blu-ray drive to rip into my computer and then load into Plex, the names are not updating. They're keeping the. Normally, when you put a file into Plex, like for example, you download you rip a movie off of your Blu-ray drive, it's got a very long name associated with it. It'll say, 2021 1080p Blu-ray, whatever that is. And normally Plex cleans that up. And the last couple of days, anything I've put in there, Plex is not automatically cleaning that up. It's finding the metadata for the movie. But it is not cleaning up the name automatically, which is odd. And I just did a server update while you were speaking, and it's still not doing it. I don't know why. I have to dig into that.
So it has nothing to do with the server update. I am guessing it has to do with embedded metadata inside the file. And it's not picking it up from the file name. Instead, it's reading it from the metadata. And I think there's an option to prefer the metadata.
For the name of the file?
What's that?
There's a way to prefer the name of the movie from that? Okay.
But
because it's finding it as a match. Plex has this cool thing where you can tell it match. Like, hey, this is the file, and it will download it will assign all of the I think it uses IMDb. It'll take all the IMDb data.
It uses TMDB, I think. But yeah.
Okay, so it'll pull the actors that are in it, the title, the year, all of that stuff, subtitles. It'll do all of that stuff. But for some reason, it's just not the last 3 things it hasn't done that for, which is odd.
So it might be that. And obviously, you can just edit it manually and it'll stick, right?
Correct.
But, on a library of, 400 items, I've seen it happen to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
so maybe I'll try a couple of other things and see if it's still doing it and then dig into it.
Yeah.
By the way, it appears that me downgrading Zoom fixed the problem. Because it's not switching it.
Katie, go ahead and unmute if you are muted.
I think it's still jumping, but
the whole time you were talking with Al, I wasn't muted and it didn't switch at all.
I did not see any jumping yet.
Yeah. It appears to be resolved. Odd issue.
Hacks, man.
Yep, and it switches right away too. There.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, so I'll do it.
Thanks, Gal, and thanks, Duckduckgo.
Interesting. So Google search didn't show up those results?
No, that's what I was searching. I use Bing as my default, and I didn't find it in Bing. And then you said you searched Duckduckgo, and I copied your search string, and it pulled it right up.
Yeah, I wonder how that search looks in the other ones. You know what? You know why I use DuckDuckGo as the default? Because of its bang codes. So that search, if that search didn't give me anything relevant, then all I do is add bang G, and it just sends that same search to Google and opens Google with that search. Bang B is Bing. Bang W is Wikipedia. It's like it has a bunch of codes, and so it makes it the most convenient, non-effective search engine out there. Because even if it's not effective as Google, for example, it's still my default, and I can switch off of it just by adding 2 characters. So I don't need to manage anything on my client or anything. It works the same way on my mobile or.
But it only switches for that particular.
Just for that search.
Just for that search, and then it reverts back if you start another.
As long
search.
as it's my default search engine, I always search in DuckDuckGo. But if I tell DuckDuckGo bang G, right, then it goes to Google. So it just redirects my search there.
But if you
have the same place to start.
But when you start another search, if you put another keyword to search for, it's DuckDuckGo.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was wondering.
It saves me from needing to go to the site I want to search in.
Yeah.
Right. I always search from DuckDuckGo, but I go. So if I'm looking for a Google Map result, I just type the address or whatever I'm looking for, and I do a bang GM, enter, and then I'm in Google Maps. I didn't go through, even though the redirection, the first step was DuckDuckGo, I don't stop at that page, right? It's like it takes me directly to Google Maps. So that is why it has become my default search for such a long time, not because of privacy, but because of convenience, right?
And is it doing anything to the results as far as filtering? Nothing. It's just like you are on Google.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can go to Google and I type the search. Google adds on that search a lot more than if I do it through DuckDuckGo, because Google tracks the source where you typed it.
So in other words, it does filter something.
It doesn't filter so much as it builds it clean, the URL.
All
right? It just, it doesn't do anything smart about it. It's just, that's it. It doesn't do anything smart about it. It's like, makes it simple.
All right. And for those of you that have been listening, and we're talking about Plex is just, it's a media server that allows you to record off the air, to rip and record. Obviously, you can do away with your cable service if you want to, and just use Plex, and within Plex, you can branch and do different things. So it's nice. And if you want to know more, and if you want somebody to set you up with one, Gal is the person.
Nominal fee.
What?
There is a nominal fee.
Oh, no, there is a fee. I mean, come on, it takes hours.
I do the work.
Yeah.
Nick charges the fee. So
yeah, I'm the middleman.
It's the capitalist way.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
What kind of computer would you say is the minimum to?
Well,
I know it depends what you're going to do, but if you're going to do everything,
right. So the main factor is transcoding.
Yeah.
The computer itself doesn't need to be beefy at all, but you will probably want a computer with a GPU that can transcode, that can encode video. And the reason is not all videos are the same, right? And not all devices play video the same way. And so the whole idea about Plex, let's say, compared to a Windows media player on your machine, right? On your Windows machine. The main difference is Plex is a server media for media. And so you are almost exclusively playing the media remotely from the server. Even if you are on the same one, you're connecting with the client over the network, even if it's the local host, right, to the server. And so the whole idea is there needs to be zero assumptions about what the client is capable of compared to what the server is capable of. And the server needs to accommodate any client you're going to play your videos from. Okay. So I said a lot. What does all that mean? That means that if your client is an old phone, for example, or an old iPad or tablet, it might not be able to handle newer encoding formats for video, for example, or it might not be able to handle a 180p encoded video. And so you would want to stream that video at 480p or 720 720p. And so to do that, the server will need to transcode live while you're playing. And to do that, the CPU, you can give it a beefy CPU, but for good encoding and fast encoding, you need a GPU that knows to encode. And that's the key thing. So can you run Plex on a Raspberry Pi or a mini x86 architecture chip? Probably the answer is yes, but you'll want it to have encoding capabilities. So, and if you don't
Can I give you a real life example?
Yes, please.
So one of my colleagues recently decided to get into Plex, and he decided to purchase a NAS, I think it's a Synology 2-bay, 4-bay NAS, which is a great device to run Plex on, and it's worked perfect. He got a Silicon Dust HD home run and is trying to watch live TV and is having a bear of a time because of the live transcode. Doing live television, which is uncompressed ATSC 1.0, is very expensive in terms of resources to encode. So he's having a problem where his playback in Plex is not good for live TV because of that. Yeah. DVR's fine. Live TV sucks because the device isn't powerful enough to do that encoding in real time. If you're just watching,
he bought the wrong HD home run though.
Why?
So for that setup, he should have bought HD home run has a version that encodes HVAC video.
Yeah, there is one, the one with the two.
Well, he's got the HTSC 3.0 one.
I started with the Raspberry Pi. Remember, God? And I was seeing in Linux when you run top 400% and 300
which means all 4 cores at 100%.
Ridiculous, and it couldn't do transcoding. And we found out that the 4-port they do not have a 4-port with a transcoder, and I wanted to have all these. The 4 ports means you can watch one and record 3. Kathy wanted that. Yeah. So that's when I put a more powerful machine. But
so the 8 looks like the ATSC 4.0, ATSC 3.0 one, which is the new standard of broadcast television, ATSC. Looking at the spec sheet,
it doesn't transcode, and they haven't come out with.
They haven't come out with one that transcodes yet. Yeah, which is a problem.
Yeah.
And they haven't come out with one for 3 years now. So it's like 3 years old, that new device, but they haven't come out with an encoding device yet. And so that's a problem.
I think it very much depends on, as you mentioned, what devices you're watching on and what you're watching. If you have an expensive Roku, like one of the Ultras, you can get away with a pretty crappy Plex server because you can offload a lot of that to the device itself, and it'll handle it. If you're trying to watch on a 10-year-old Fire TV stick and a crappy Plex server in terms of resources, you're probably not going to have a good time.
Or if you're trying to watch away from home on a slow network connection, right? If you don't have a high upload rate on your broadband, for example. So, all of that. All of that plays into factor. Video is complex, and so.
But it's once it works, it's great.
Yep,
this is true.
Yep.
And I've been playing with Jellyfin for a while now,
What is that?
That's a replacement.
That's Jellyfin is an open source implementation of a server very like Plex. Same concept. It was forked from another project, MB, that was open source and then stopped being open source. So Jellyfin is the open source fork of that. And I had a crash of my Plex server probably now 4 or 5 months ago, and since then I didn't spin it up again. But I did try. I'm running it as a Jellyfin server right now, only at home trying it out, and I gotta say, the quality of the software Plex provides is way beyond that of the open source option, which is a shame. I really want the open source to be the go-to, but it seems like even if you rely on Jellyfin, at least run a free version of Plex as a backup in case you hit trouble.
But they'll get there. They'll get there.
It'll get there, but it'll be years, because the amount of effort invested into Plex, right? You cannot duplicate that on a community-led project without proper funding, right? So,
did you see what Alan is writing?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's because it keeps.
There's a bunch of questions. So
no, at the end, he's telling you that said if you start the movie and pause it for a few minutes, it will not buffer when you play it. I would think that that's because it's, even if you pause it, it keeps on.
It actually doesn't. It does it in a smart way, so it won't encode the entire movie. I think if you pause it, it'll only do a few minutes, so it might help. I don't know if it solves the issue completely, but let's go. Alan has made some comments along our talk, and so the first one is, I wasn't aware my server wasn't claimed. Alan, you do not need to have your server claimed if you're only using it inside your home LAN, right? Because inside your home LAN, it can also work without a password at all, if that's what you choose. So, so you definitely don't need your server to be claimed, but you probably want it if you're sharing it outside of your home. Hardware interfaces to use to rip Blu-ray. I'm guessing, I have no experience with that, unfortunately. To tell the truth, even if I own the Blu-ray, right, I'll go and torrent a copy instead of ripping it, because somebody else already did the work and did it good. But I have no experience in ripping Blu-rays, so I don't know. Handbrake is great. I don't know how it handles Blu-ray. I'm guessing with Blu-ray, there's some sort of hardware encryption, and I don't know how it passes that. I know that with DVD, all of the keys have been exposed, so I don't know what happens with Blu-ray. I'm not sure what your question about, Alan. You're asking, are there more plugins available for Plex from third parties? So first of all, Plex add-on ecosystem has been discontinued from Plex side. Some of the plugins still have a way of working, but you need to load some alternative plugin ecosystem that attaches to it. Then Alan mentioned something about speeds and said what Amnon talked about earlier, about pausing the video a few minutes and then it'll work unbuffered. maybe that's the case with maybe it does transcode the entire video on the local cache, on the local disk for the duration of the play. And so that might work. If that works, then fantastic. Keep doing that. And that's all the questions.
He kept commenting, and he says that there's one person watches from outside.
Yeah, so this is strange. If there's a person that watches from the outside and the server was unclaimed, I'm surprised that it worked, but maybe it's not necessary. But you do want to claim it, because this way you can okay, I think I know what's going on. So when you claim it, then this allows you remote management of it as well. So if you're outside of your home and you log into Plex TV using your user, you will be able to manage it. Otherwise, you need only on your local LAN machine to log in to go to your local IP address. And I'm guessing that when you're with your local IP address and it's unclaimed, it'll work even without the username logged in. You will be able to manage the server.
Didn't want to work for me.
The last comment from Alan is an important one. So Alan, you do not need Plexpass to watch on iOS devices. What you do need is you need your account. So Plexpass is a subscription that you pay $5, maybe a bit more these days, a month. It was $5 back in the day. I'm guessing it's a bit more right now. So it's a monthly subscription fee, and it gives you some benefits. One of them is playing on mobile devices like iOS and Android. But the reason I'm saying you do not need the Plexpass, you can activate the platform with a one-time fee. And then you do not need to pay for the subscription if you do not use the features of the subscription. Okay, so keep that in mind. The way to do it, okay, so that's something else. So you have the lifetime Plexpass.
Yeah.
A lifetime Plexpass is every once in a while, Plex has a sale on the lifetime Plexpass, and that means a one-time fee, and you get the subscription for life. No need to renew it. No monthly fees.
And it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and if you're using it daily, like I used to use it, and I'm probably going back to it, it's worth every penny. And I paid, Alan, I was a sucker. I paid the full price, the full 100 and I think back at my days it was 120. I think now it's 150. But yeah, it's worth it, because I've been running the Plex server for about, I would say, 5 years now, minus the few months that I've tried something else, and it never really failed me. It's the crash was my fault. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, Nick, you ready?
Amnon?
You ready for facials?
I can be, yeah, absolutely. So I'm in a Facebook group when I used to work in IT and do that full time. It's called like IT humor and memes and stuff like that. And people post real stuff that they see out and about. And this was posted this week, and you can tell based on the resolution of the photo. This is a 56K US Robotics business modem that has got a label maker tape on it that says, "Do not power off, the network will go down." There was no elaboration as to what this thing was doing, but That's what it
Nick, do you
says.
see something wrong with that picture?
I do. I see that there's nothing plugged into it.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't read into it.
Yeah.
All I know is that looking at the picture, it was a recently taken picture, a very high resolution picture. So it wasn't something from 25 years ago.
Oh.
So yeah, don't power off your 56K business modem or you will lose your business. So that's the moral of the story.
Only caption I would give this is, this gen is the internet.
Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Give me a minute.
Maybe it's a Wi-Fi.
A Wi-Fi 56K modem. Yeah, I'm sure it's quite the steal, as they say.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't ever remember seeing one like that. A business modem. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I didn't do a lot of I didn't do a lot of research into what it was or exactly what it was doing. I'll find that picture.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean,
don't worry about it.
No, I'm because I should have bookmarked it so I could have.
I mean, the same thing goes for a lot of equipment these days. Don't turn off the switch; it will kill the network.
Well, and that's actually correct, though. If you do turn off the switch, it will, in fact, hose the network.
Now, my problem is different. Case, I have my problem is different. It says no, don't turn off the switch. I have a VM, a DNS, local DNS running on a VM.
Yeah. And
every weekend there's a backup process, but every other weekend that backup process fails to restart the VM properly, and so almost every other Saturday morning I need to log into the machine and see why the VM failed and restart it, and I know the solution for me, but I haven't gotten to it. So I just need another DNS running on another machine. But it's like, oh man, this is annoying.
There's no context that I could find on there. It's just the picture. So it might be a staged photo for all we know, but that's not here nor there. That's not this program. All right, let's jump into specials. A bear of a specials this week. A very, very tough to get something, a couple of things, but we got some useful things. Thought this was kind of an interesting device. It's not, family computers aren't really a thing anymore, where you have like a computer in the den or the family room that everybody uses. But there's a lot of interesting use cases for something like this. If you're looking for an all-in-one, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you want an all-in-one computer for a office area or something like that, where you've got a bunch of people coming in. This is a HP all-in-one 22-inch desktop running an Intel Celeron G5900T. It's not the fastest processor in the world. It also doesn't have a lot of RAM either, at 4 gigabytes, but it does have a 256 gig SSD, so it should be relatively snappy. You don't have to worry about a spinning drive. It's running Windows 11 Home, and it's normally $429. You can get it on sale for $344. That is over at Walmart. It comes with a keyboard and mouse. It's got HDMI, so you can connect another screen to it, a couple of USB ports, and Ethernet as well. So it's got enough connections where you could presumably do a couple of useful things. And it's got a webcam built into it. So maybe you use it as a teleconferencing computer in an area, but that's over at Walmart. Over at Best Buy is an Insignia. This is their internal brand. So this is a 70-inch smart TV that's running Amazon Fire TV. Running that as the OS. This is normally $650. You save $220 on it. It's $429 over at Best Buy. Again, manage your expectations. Know exactly what you are. Know exactly what you're paying for and what you're getting. But you can find this over at Best Buy for $429. Moving on, not often that we get to see a Z-Wave product, and we'll come back to a USB hub in a minute. But this is over at Costco. I bought this deal when it was the deal, and it's back on sale again. This is a 3-pack of First Alert, which is kind of the gold standard when it comes to smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. And the cool thing about these is they are Z-Wave. So I've got 2 of these in service right now. I've got a third that I need to deploy in the garage. But these are Z-Wave devices. They'll connect to your Z-Wave hub with Home Assistant, and you can get an alert when these devices go off. So you can check that out over at Costco. It's normally $100 for the 3-pack, but you can get 3 of them for just $80, and that's over at Costco. Moving back to, this is a very interesting USB hub. You don't typically see hubs this big and this power. This is normally a $70 hub. And you might think, wow, that's expensive. But boy, this thing has got a lot of ports on it. So it's USB-C. So you'll connect it to a newer style laptop. And when you do that, you will find that it's got USB-C pass-through for charging so that you can charge your device through it. It's got full-size Ethernet, HDMI, VGA. That's on one side and the front. And then it's got a pass-through USB-C port, 2 SD card ports, the full-size and the mini SD card, and then 2 regular USB Type-A ports. I can't think of anything that this is missing in terms of connectivity. It's got literally anything that you could possibly want to connect, except for audio. That's the only thing it doesn't have, but you can connect a USB audio device if that's the case. So this is normally $68.99, and you can get it on sale. It's 45% off for just $37 over at Monoprice. If you have a USB-C type laptop and you're always struggling to make sure you have the right connections for the right thing for the device that you're trying to connect it to a projector that only has VGA, this is a pretty good buy for you. You'll find that over at Monoprice, and you can only buy 20 of them, Amnon, so don't buy too many all at once.
I'm not going to even buy one because it doesn't have a game port. So never mind.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't have game port, and there's no printer port on it either. So yeah, it's a little bit disheartening there. All right, moving on. This is an Anchor device. It's a power. It's not a power strip. This is you put this thing over your 2-gang outlet that you've got on the wall. So you take out the center screw that holds your faceplate on, and you put this in and screw it in through the hole for the center plate. And what you'll get with this is 6 surge protected outlets that you'll get. So you're using 2 gang box, and you're getting 4 additional outlets. So 6 outlets total. And then you're also getting 2 of Anchor's 18-watt USB charging ports. So you can, using their IQ technology, which is they claim it's for fast charging and things like that. It's got up to 1,200 joules worth of surge protection. And maybe this is good for and it's also got a light on it. So this is maybe this is for a hallway or something. If you have a night light, place the night light, get this thing. You get a whole bunch of outlets with it as well. It's normally $25, but there's an Amazon promo code that knocks it down to just $14. So you'll find that over at Amazon. There is a Slick Deals link in the specials. This next one is fascinating. I have never seen a device like this before. Amnon, if you could switch the specials back to me, I'd like to show a couple of the Amazon pictures for this device. So it's an SD card, a 1 terabyte SD card. You might be thinking, okay, great. Well, what's the deal? Who cares? Well, look at this picture. This is a flush card. It is meant to plug into a MacBook or other style laptop and not stick out of the side. So it's essentially half of the width. So it sits flush in the SD card port. You've got a lot of laptops now that have 256 gigabytes of built-in storage. That's it. It's soldered on. You can't replace it. There's no room. So Transcend makes this what they call their Jet Drive Lite, and you can switch back to the specials now if you would, Amnon. And this device is meant for a laptop. You can get a terabyte worth of storage space. It's essentially like an internal drive for a MacBook and for other devices that have a full-size SD card slot. Very, very interesting. I've never seen anything like it. Go ahead.
Hold on. This is not designed for a laptop. It is designed specifically for a MacBook. And the reason I'm stressing this is most other PC-based SD card slots, the full SD card will go in and stay flush.
Okay,
and
so
you press it and then it goes out. So this is like working specifically around the design of a MacBook Pro, which keeps a regular SD card half sticking out.
Oh.
So
okay?
then,
so this is the equivalent of the original iPhone 2.5 inch, 2.5 millimeter jack versus the standard 3.5 millimeter jack. Mac came up with a design that they thought was novel, and this is targeted directly at their flawed design. Okay.
But it will work. But it will work on a PC.
It will not.
No, it won't.
Oh.
And the reason it won't is because it won't go all the way in.
Okay.
There are some devices, because I looked into this. The Lenovo Yoga Series Pro laptops have this same design. This is about saving space inside of the computer. So instead of having the full SD card, the SD card sticks about, a normal SD card would stick about halfway out. So if you have a laptop where the SD card sticks halfway out, this is your device. I've never seen anything like this before. I was fascinated to find it. So you can get a terabyte worth of storage. It's normally $200, and it's on sale right now. It's 25% off for $140, which for a 1 terabyte SD card is pretty good. It's called their Jet Drive, and it's specifically made for fast storage on these devices. It's essentially an external hard drive, but built into the computer using the SD card slot. So very cool product, and you can check that out over at Amazon. All right, here's another monoprice product. I thought this was pretty cool. This is what they call their hybrid tube amplifier. As you know, vinyl records have come back and things of that nature. Tube type amplifiers have also had a bit of a resurgence as well. And looking at this, it's got and you can tell this is for show because the tubes are on the front of the device, meant to be shown off. So it's a tube type style amplifier. The tubes will glow. It'll look pretty cool. This has got it's got Bluetooth, optical, coax, and a USB port, as well as a subwoofer out. So this is a 25 watt stereo amp that you can get. It's normally $100, but there is a mono price promo code where you can get it for $93. Thought it just looked cool. And if you are looking for a new amplifier, get some tubes. It's got an old style VU meter with the needle that moves around. Pretty neat looking device. So you can check that out over at Monoprice as well. Next up is an actual 1 terabyte storage device. This is the Crucial MX500. This is a 1 terabyte, 2.5 inch regular SSD. Nothing super special with it. $75. It's normally $100. Save $24 on that. They've got some other sizes as well, 250 gigs all the way up to 4 terabytes. So check out the size that you want, the Crucial MX500 series on sale over at Amazon. And I thought this was an interesting buy as well. If you are in the market for some peripherals, this is a bundle, which I'm not typically the biggest fan of bundles, but this will get you going pretty good. This is the Razer Power Up Gaming Bundle is what they're calling it. And it comes with 4 different things. It comes with the Razer gaming mat or mouse pad. It's a large mouse pad, but it's almost the size of a gaming mat. And it comes with a couple of other things as well, including it comes with a headset. It's the Black Shark V2X headset that it comes with. It comes with a gaming keyboard. It's a mechanical board. It's the Canosa Lite. Comes with the gaming mat and then a Death Adder Essential, which is their kind of standard mouse. All of it is wired. None of it's wireless. You're not getting any of those features with it. But it's normally $80 and it's 50% off over at Walmart. You can buy it online or in store for just $40. So you're saving half the price on that. If you maybe you're getting your wife or girlfriend into gaming and you've got a little gaming computer set up, this is a good little peripheral pack to get that started with. It will suffice. And again, the headset, the mouse, the mat, and all of that stuff with it for just $40. And then finally this morning, I've got two different devices. Both are Casa brand, which is TP-Link's Internet of Things, Wi-Fi connected devices. And Casa it's a very reputable brand. If you're not interested in Home Assistant and you're looking for just one ecosystem, Casa's I still have a couple of Casa devices and I've been very, very happy with them. So here's two things. The first is an outdoor smart plug. So maybe you've got inflatable things on your lawn for Christmas or Thanksgiving or Halloween, or lights and stuff wrapped around your your front porch, and you want to be able to control them through an app. This is a great way to do this. This is an IP64 rated weather resistant device, connects via Wi-Fi, no hub. So as long as you have Wi-Fi, you'll get two separately addressable controllable ports on this. This is normally $25. It's on sale for $22. And then there's a special $5 coupon. So you'll get it down to just $18 over at Amazon. And it's also got manual control on it as well. So you can physically press the button on and off. So that is a TP-Link Casa outdoor smart plug over at Amazon. And then finally, here is a light switch. This is a three-way switch. It's noted that you do need the neutral wire to connect for it. And it's a three-way switch, three-pole switch, so that you can put it, replace it with your outlet in the wall. It's a clickable switch, so you're not flipping it up and down. This is normally $25. You can get it on sale for $16. Same thing with this. It is a Casa brand Wi-Fi, so you'll connect it and then control it via the Casa app. Casa works with all of the home assistants as well. And I would guess, Gal, I'm not sure, it might work with actual Home Assistant itself. I'm sure there's integration so that you can use these devices through Home Assistant and then through your A-Word device, your Echo device, and all of that stuff as well. So you'll check that out over at Amazon.
Yeah, I have some Casa switches. I think two from before I started using Home Assistant, and I control them today through Home Assistant.
Yeah,
and it still goes through the server. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah,
and and I don't think TP-Link's been in this game for a long time now, so I don't foresee them vanishing or disappearing. They're not going to get bought out. They're a big enough company. So I don't think it's a problem to invest in TP-Link stuff for Casa. It's a very matured system because that schedules the whole shebang with it through just the app.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's over at Amazon.
All right. Well, thanks, Nick.
My pleasure.
Good job. Remember a year or two ago, we were always talking about getting a GPU to do this and a GPU to do that, and it was impossible.
Yep.
Well, like the article goes, a year ago, it was nearly impossible to buy a GeForce GPU for its intended retail price. Now, the company has the opposite problem. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said during the company's second quarter of 2023 earnings call yesterday that the company is dealing with excess inventory of RTX 3000 series GPUs ahead of its next-gen RTX 4000 series release later this year. To deal with this, according to Huang, nVidia will reduce the number of GPUs it sells to manufacturers of graphic cards and laptops so that those manufacturers can clear out their existing inventory. Wang also said nVidia has instituted programs to price position our current products to prepare for next generation products. So from, hey, I can't find a GPU because they don't have them, to now they're having too many. The only bad thing here is they're not going to pass any kind of lower prices to us. They're going to withhold delivery to their dealers, to the manufacturers, so they will be able to clear it. Maybe the manufacturers will reduce the price in order to make room for the newer ones. Hopefully.
Yeah, I was just about to say, they probably made too many, and they probably upped the price on them because everybody was buying them, and supply and demand and all that. And now that they're probably cost an arm and a leg, people aren't going to buy it. So like, oh, what do we do with this?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't keep track of the prices, but I wanted to get a new graphics card, and I didn't. One, because it was too hard to find, and two, they were astronomically more expensive. So I was just waiting around. And so if the prices are still going to be ridiculous, I'll just keep waiting.
Well, hopefully the prices.
I think prices should be normal at this point. But yeah, it's Crimea River. Come on, it's like, come on.
Exactly.
All right, next, and this is, be aware, hackers are breaking into unsuspecting victims' CashApp accounts, a massively popular payment app, and stealing hundreds of dollars at a time. According to victims Motherboard spoke to, in one person's case, they said CashApp was not reimbursed, has not reimbursed them for the stolen funds. And there were different stories there about people putting money in their Cash App and going on a trip and realizing, hey, all my money is gone. So it's just be aware of that.
I'm curious what their definition of hacking is, because I don't have Cash App. I use Venmo, but I'm assuming it's also like a phone app for cash, right? A lot of those hacks are where people get text messages and they're like, hey, we're official Cash App and we can't log into your account, or you can't log in. There's been a breach. Like, try to log in again. And really it's a scammer or whatever. And then they get your information through text messages. So if anybody or somebody sends you a text message, don't click it. Don't respond. Like, so when they say that it's hacked in, it's usually, I feel like people accidentally clicking on the wrong thing and putting in their information, and less of like somebody specifically targeting and like, you know, like they do on the TV shows where they're like having programs running through their passwords and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the same thing is scammers are using invoices sent. Now this is disturbing. Sent through PayPal.com to trick recipients into calling a number to dispute a pending charge. This is coming from Krebs on Security. The missives, which comes from PayPal.com, and include a link at PayPal.com that displays an invoice for the supposed transactions, state that the user account is about to be charged hundreds of dollars. Recipients who call the supplied toll-free number to contest the transaction are soon asked to download software that lets the scammers assume remote control over their computer.
Okay, so Amnon.
Yeah.
Let's simplify this. The title should be, right? Cash App users are being targeted, right, by social engineering hack.
This is different. This is a PayPal thing. Yeah, it's all of it.
But that's that's the same thing as the previous one.
Yeah.
It's not that the app has been hacked or that the servers have been
Right.
hacked. Is the users of these applications are being targeted.
Yeah.
So
and it's the same thing.
the hacking is human.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not technical. It's very important to understand that.
Most of the hacking and the scams that are working out these days for these scammers start with the social hack.
And notice that none of the articles are stressing the human factor here.
Right.
They're always sort of blaming the lack of security of the app, which is not the case. The reason it is a social hack is because the technical setup does not allow somebody who isn't allowed, and the weak link is the human being using the app. Okay? Very important to understand this.
Yeah.
This is in your hands to be educated. And unfortunately, if you're not educated enough, you will be tricked.
Yep.
Right? And it happens to everyone. It can happen to me. It's not like I'm impervious, right? It's not like, I'm all knowing, all smart.
Yeah.
The tricks that they are using like cognitive psychology tricks, right? Dark patterns. It's not about the tech. It's about misuse of the tech. Okay, so
yeah.
Also, I want to say too, with the PayPal invoices specifically, anybody can send an invoice. An invoice is not a receipt. It doesn't mean that something's actually happened. It's basically just a money request. So that when somebody says it's an invoice, it makes it sound like it's like legally binding or whatever. But when it comes from PayPal, like I send invoices out and then people don't pay them, and I just don't send them the thing or do the thing that the invoice was for. So it's like anybody could say they're going to send you an invoice, doesn't mean they actually took the money out of your account or whatever like that. They're just like, hey, I want money. Can you give me money? And just like, no. So, or yes, depending if it's legit and you want to pay it.
Right. But the thing here that is disturbing is that invoice also has a message that your account is about to be charged.
Yeah, but that's that's somebody types that message in. Like PayPal doesn't add that. Literally PayPal, the invoice template is just, this is an invoice. It's from this user / email address, and it's being sent to this user / email address, and this is the money they're requesting. And then there's like a message box where usually you put in what you're requesting the money for, like an item. So if it's like a digital item, you write that down there or whatever, but instead they're putting in, wow, this is a warning, this is a big deal, this is how much money is taking out of your account, but PayPal isn't saying that. It's what the person's putting in the message. I mean, I can see how that would be really confusing, because when you get an invoice from like an illegit company, you're like, oh gosh, I have to pay this, blah blah blah. But
yeah,
anybody can put whatever they want.
It all comes down to education.
Yeah,
you need to know what's going on, and it's the old thing we always used to tell people. When you're in IT and people call you and say, hey, I just got this on my screen, the most common one is, you've been infected. And the first questions that I ask people, I say, oh, okay. What program sent it to you? You need to look at the pop-up or at the screen and see who is sending you, who's telling you that you've just been infected. If you see that McAfee is telling you that, you need to know, my virus scanner, spyware scanner is not McAfee. I don't use McAfee. How come And that's where you start. And okay. Otherwise, you fall for it and you call the number, and they are so well trained to manipulate you that they will make you do anything that they want you to do to the computer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Katie, have you ever spent time watching a YouTube channel? There's a YouTube channel of a guy who hacks the hackers.
Yeah. I've actually seen that quite a bit, and it's really satisfying. There's actually quite a few dudes. There's one guy who's hysterical. He wears like an old person wig, and he has a voice changer, and he pretends to be an old lady because that's who they target. They target the elderly. And so he has like a dummy computer and he does everything they say. But then he has the software, I guess, that makes it look like he's taking money from their account. And he just keeps them busy on the line for a couple hours. And it's so funny. And then there's this other dude that's like wicked scary because he hacks into, like, he finds out the scammer, he finds their building, and then he hacks into their camera system.
The webcams,
yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, you're wearing a blue dress" or something. Like he like calls it out, and then you can see the people. They're like freaking out. And on some instances, he said that he can't reveal certain information because he's working with the FBI to like shut down these operations. But I was like, dang, it's super cool and awesome that he does that.
So the reason I mentioned all of that, that part is awesome. But you also get glimpses of how the scams actually work.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that what's happening on the other line, the scammer who's keeping you on the line, the unknowing victim, they use everything. It starts by, feeding into fear, and then it goes into pressure through humiliation sometime. And, when you're looking at it from the side, it seems, why is the person still online, right?
Yeah.
Why haven't they disconnected already, right? They're being abused, and they can't even see it because in that moment, the control is on the other side. It's like that's why I mean the hacking is cognitive psychology. It's not about hacking the tech. It's about hacking the person, the personality. So the mark here, right, are just they expose their weaknesses early on in the conversation, and the other person on the other side just manipulates that and uses that. And only after the fact, they go and, they capture their head and say, oh my God, what did I do, right? It's like, while you're in it, you have zero control if they get the control. So you need to be aware of the initial signs on how not to start stepping into the trap, because sometimes you'll only realize you were in the trap after the fact, right? And that's the most important part of protecting you from this. So, yeah. And those videos are illuminating, because if you ever fear that you might be susceptible to something like this, go watch a video like that, because it'll help you, how should I say, sniff it out before it even starts.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, sorry. All right. And more scams. Microsoft has confirmed to Sky News that criminals are posting counterfeit packages designed to appear like office products in order to defraud people. One such package, seen by Sky News, is manufactured to a convincing standard and contains an engraved USB drive alongside a product key. But the USB does not install Microsoft Office when plugged into a computer. Instead, it contains malicious software which encourages the victim to call a fake support line, and blah, blah, and they take it from there. It's rampant. And if people did not fall for it, these guys would not be doing it. But because people do fall for it, they keep doing it because they make money. Now, Gal, Lastpass, you read the story about them?
There was a breach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Password management company Lastpass has published information about a security incident. We have determined that an unauthorized party gained access to portions of the Lastpass development environment through a single compromised developer account and took portion of the source code and some proprietary Lastpass technical information. That's what they wrote. They also clarified that no user data was lost whenever store or have knowledge of your master password. They said we utilize an industry standard zero knowledge architecture, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's the second or third time
Lastpass.
they had a network breach. In none of the breaches, I think personal user information was compromised. So I read, I think the way I read it is somebody posted the article with some title of, this was on a self-hosting subreddit, and the guy, the person who posted it was an asshole, because it's like, oh, so you want to tell me you still trust those large companies? And luckily enough, the community just chewed him off and said, these guys, right, they might not be our cup of tea, and nobody here wants to use them because we all want to self-host. But yeah, their security is a lot better than ours. They detected this less than a few days after it happens. They figured out what happened, and they know that the stuff wasn't compromised, right? It's like, yeah, they're a lot better at it than us. We don't like the way they work, and we wouldn't keep our secrets, but not because they're bad at security, right? That's not the issue. So it's an interesting tale, right? It's I think it will just keep on hearing more and more of these stuff. I wonder if this back in the 80s, right? Movies about bank robberies in the 60s and the 70s, right, were right everywhere. And I'm guessing news, I wasn't here in the States at that time, but I'm guessing news were also like, this was the sensation that they were looking for. If something like that happened, this was like big news day, right? It feels like for every nickel and dime blog out there, this is what they're trying to report, right? These sensational little tidbits, but technically they're not that interesting.
No, they're not. It's just, I mean, we need to keep repeating them so it'll sink into people's heads.
Yeah, I think awareness is required.
Yeah.
But let's take out the sensation out of it. That's all.
Right. All right, you were talking about Duckduckgo earlier. So last year, Duckduckgo announced a free service designed to fend off email trackers and help people protect their privacy. The email protection beta was initially available through a waitlist. It is now open beta, meaning everyone can try it without having to wait for access. Email protection is a forwarding service that removes trackers from messages. Duckduckgo will tell you which trackers it scrubs as well. And during the waitlist beta, Duckduckgo says it found trackers in 85% of testers' emails.
Sounds about right.
Anyone can now sign up for at duck.com email address, which you can get an email address at duck.com. So gal at duck.com.
Yeah.
Which will work across desktops, iOS, and Android. Duckduckgo says you can create unlimited private email addresses, including a throwaway one for every website if you prefer. You can also deactivate an address at any time. So it's not bad for people that don't have the option to do fancy things with their email. That may be a good option, and it's free.
Well,
Right.
I would rather they would sell it for the cheap instead of free. Everything free has a price to it. But I mean, it's a good thing. I hope that they will create some traction, and so this will become like a competitive field.
Mm-hmm.
But I again, if it's free, I'm a bit, uneasy.
So
I used to love all of these free services. When somebody offers something free, I register for it, usually to get my account name there for the future in case things change. But it feels like, okay, Duckduckgo have been making money until now, claiming they do not track us, right? Claiming they do not sell the metadata to for advertising. They're doing it without tracking and selling. And I love them for that, and I use them, right? But this is something that has zero user interaction in it, right? And so why are you giving it for me for free? That's my question.
To get you into their ecosystem, which will,
I don't think
they
so.
may be developing.
You can use it without using their web page. They can gain my trust without that email. They are putting in a substantial amount of effort, right, into the service. They've been running it as a beta as an alpha for a year. It's so there's something here, right, that they have a plan for, and that involves you being a user of their free service. What is that? So, okay, all of the competitors won't track me, but you are tracking me basically, right? So that's where a hosted service that gives me something for free, it's not free. What is it doing with my data? That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm coming from. That's where I'm uneasy.
On the same, did you? I don't remember. I remember hearing the word, but I never remember reading anything about it. Heroku. Did you ever hear that?
Heroku.
Heroku. Heroku. It says, after offering them for over a decade, Heroku announced this week that it will eliminate all its free services, pushing users to paid plans. Starting November 28, the Salesforce-owned cloud platform as a service will stop providing free product plans and shut down free data services, and soon, on October 26, will begin deleting inactive accounts and associated storage for accounts that have been inactive for over a year. In a blog post, Bob Wise, Heroku general manager and Salesforce EVP, blamed abuse on the demise of free services, which span the free plans for Heroku Dynos, Heroku Postgres, as well as the free plan for Heroku Data for Redis. So that doesn't look like it's something for end users.
No, so Heroku, I've encountered them in the past. They are an application hosting service.
Okay.
Very like AWS and Google Cloud Platform. You can host specific, instead of hosting a VM or a VPS or even a container, you get specific services from them. Let's say a database, or a PHP server, or like they run the software for you, isolated for you, but you don't get like a complete access to it, but you can host a Go application or something like that. Okay. So, and yeah, like many other services, they had a free tier. I am actually 100% okay with a message like this. I'm sure that if I've been using them for a while, I'd be pissed off. But from the outside, give me a service that costs me $1 a month, right? I will trust you a lot more than if you're giving me a free service.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, ask me to pay 10 cents and I'll trust you more. And the reason is, if you go through the trouble to get my money, right, then you are already committed a lot more to me, and I am committed a lot more to you. First of all, I've identified myself in some way, right?
Right.
So I can't hide behind anonymity. So the user base you have cannot hide behind 100% anonymity. There's always ways to circumvent that, right? But I'm saying, like, in a general sense, there's a money trail. A money trail makes you part of the system. The moment all of your accounts are part of the system, then there's less chance of abuse of your system. That's one. Two, even if I'm on a lower paying tier and you say, hey, we're tracking the lower paying tier and we might sell your information, I'm still going to trust you a lot more than a free service that's going to track my information, because you put yourself, as the company charging me money, you put yourself in a more vulnerable place, right? Because there is an explicit exchange here, not an implicit one. And so, I mean, I hope that it won't be, that it's not a sign of a downfall of their service. I know that the people who have been using their services, whether free or paid, like the service. So, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on there. People that deal with a lot of pictures and file them and save them. Google Research has released an open source project it calls MultiNerf that does an out of this world job at removing digital noise from pictures, and this is according to TechCrunch. The algorithms run on raw image data and adds AI magic to figure out what footage should have looked like without the distinct video noise generated by imaging sensors. Yeah, I know.
I didn't understand.
So it's removing digital noise from pictures and from videos.
Digital noise?
Digital.
I wonder, I actually saw something recently where somebody had film. It's like the first ever film. It was made in like 1890 or something, like really, really early. And you could see the little girl's face, but it was supposed to be like a portrait. But the edges of the film just got deteriorated. And so they sent it through this AI software, and I don't know if it's the same AI software or whatever, but it took the little blotches and the little holes that were in the frames, and they covered them up. And so she had like her whole outfit, and it got rid of the splotches on her face that were like, it's not pixel, but I don't know, dust or something that was on the footage, and it made it look real nice. Like instead of making it look like it was filmed at the turn of the century, it looked like it was filmed in the 60s or 70s, and I was really impressed by it. And I don't know if it's the same thing or not, but that's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, but that loses its
that's not
flavor.
digital noise, right?
I mean, it can be, right? So I don't. What's the definition of digital noise? Because to me, digital noise is any kind of pixelation that appears in the footage or an image that the camera or the footage or the way you capture it or the way you compress it, anything that is not with the original photo that gets added to it by whatever medium and way that you take the video or the picture. So for cameras, when you take a photo, you'll see the pixelations Like if you zoom really far in, you'll see the individual pixelations, and that could be. Granted, I don't know the technical terms for all this, but I know that when I'm editing photos or editing video, the cameras that take the stuff add little pixelation particles to the stuff, and so when you go in and you like digitally paint over, or you take a digital image and put it on top of a photograph, you immediately can tell that it's been photoshopped, because the computer, when it adds the digital image to on top of film or whatever, it's too clean, like it's too smooth. So then you add noise, digital noise or camera noise to a computer generated image to make it, to fake that. So this sounds like it takes old stuff, the old footage, old images or whatever that was damaged by some way by old technology, old cameras, and makes it look better. That's
Gal, the program name is called Multi-Nerf, NERF. So if you're interested
I'll look at it in a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just interesting. And
digital
now
remastering.
And now if you have the Quest VR headsets, you can have their own sign-in. You don't need to use your Facebook anymore.
Yeah, people have been asking that for years.
Yep.
And now they just implemented
So
that.
they implement cool. Absolutely. So that's nice too.
I've got some video game news that I found interesting.
Okay.
Sony announced that they're going to raise the prices of the PS5s, and that was really interesting. And they said that it's not going to affect the US. It says they're raising the prices in Europe, Japan, China, Australia, Mexico, and Canada. And the price jumps are going to be equivalent to roughly 50 euros per console. It's interesting. They said a statement explaining the hike. Sony blames the move on high inflation and currency trends. So they decided to raise the prices. Like I said, it's not happening in the US, but who knows? Maybe they're testing it. But all the competitors, Microsoft, Nintendo, with the Xbox and the Switch, they're like, nah, we're not going to raise our prices. Sony, you do you. So if you're outside of the US and you're trying to get a PS5, maybe get one before they raise the prices.
Yeah, it's not going to happen in the US, they say. It's probably because, and it is funny in my opinion, all these election ads, or some of them, that people saying, I'm going to solve the inflation problem. I'm going to stop it. I mean, wouldn't that be nice?
Wait a minute. Are you saying that politicians are being like, we're going to stop
I'm
inflation?
not saying anything.
Sony, don't raise your PS5 prices. This is my new campaign. I want to get reelected.
Amnon, are you saying politicians lie to us?
No.
They have a vested interest in PS5s. That's what he said. Also, sorry, I didn't know this, but you could get a digital-only version of the PS5 for $400. It doesn't come with a disc drive for games.
Oh yeah, $100 less.
Yeah. So
yeah, it was a.
What do you mean on digital?
It says
only download digital content, no physical media.
Yeah. Save $100.
Yeah, this is the future with Game Pass and PlayStation Now. There's less of a need for physical games, and they'll eventually. And Sony did it. They did it. They were the first to do it. Is sell a unit without a disc drive. And if you don't buy disc, if you don't,
does it as well.
No, there's not an Xbox version that doesn't have a drive.
Not
that I'm aware of. Yeah, they were the first to try it, and I mean that's the trend. I mean, your Roku doesn't have a device that you can play things on. It doesn't have a DVD reader or a VHS reader. That's the way video game consoles will go as well. You'll buy the games digitally, or in the case of Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Now, you don't buy games at all. You pay $15 a month for a subscription service, and everything is streamed anyway. So why do you need a disc drive? Cuts down on cost and cuts down on size.
Can you actually go to the store anymore and buy Windows 11 in a box box with
You couldn't buy Windows 10 in box.
Yeah.
I don't think you could buy Windows 8 in box. I don't know the last time you could buy Windows in box. I'm not even sure you could buy 7 in box.
I mean, I have a 7 in a box.
Did you buy it at a store?
No, it was given to me by the Microsoft rep.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I'm not even sure if it was available in a store.
Yeah, I don't know.
But no.
That's good news. U.S. wireless carrier T-Mobile will use Elon Musk-owned SpaceX Starlink satellites to provide mobile users with network access in parts of the United States. The companies announced it last Thursday. Isn't that nice?
Yes.
I mean,
this is a very cool idea.
Yeah. It's a long time coming. A lot of people think that their phone work with satellites. I was talking with two people who were talking about they don't have a signal unless they go outside. They were saying, so why don't they add more satellites? I said, what satellites? So that my phone will be able to work. It's amazing. But yeah, this will work. The new plans.
Just to go back to the non-related question, Windows 10 still had a box
you could
buy and get a USB with the installation.
Wow.
And that was retail. I do not know if they sold it in stores so much as they maybe shipped it, but there was a box. So you can search for it online.
Interesting.
Microsoft Windows retail box, and you can see Windows 10 still, but I can't find one for Windows 11.
Yeah. Maybe there isn't one. I guess there isn't one. No, I'm sure there isn't one. Come on.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever issued anything like that.
And where was this? Yes, what is coming back? You said Game Pass, Nick.
What about it?
Well, Moviepass is back.
Oh, great.
Well, they're trying. They
they say kind of.
So much.
They say kind of. Starting sometime last week, you can sign up to be on a wait list to become a MoviePass subscriber. And if you want to, you should move quickly since the wait list will only be open for 5 days. The new MoviePass is scheduled to launch around Labor Day, and its first users will be those on the top of the wait list. If you're wondering what exactly this new MoviePass is going to be, join the club, he says. You're signing for a cat in a bag, sort of. This is the company that once promised all the in-theater movies you could watch for $10 a month, only to quickly discover that business plan both infuriated theaters and effectively set millions of dollars on fire. So you can sign up for it, but they still don't tell you exactly what you're going to get for it. Because I guess they don't know.
As a past MoviePass subscriber,
yeah,
right? I can tell you at this point, don't even come close to this company. They do not, it doesn't matter what they claim, right? They will not have the backing they need to do it again the same way. So the reason they're probably not giving details is because there isn't a lot to give. The company claimed that once you have their pass, you can go to basically to the cinema at most once a day in a month, right? So, and I think there were several tiers, but almost all of the cinemas were supported. You got something that looked like a credit card. It was actually branded MasterCard, and you will go with that MasterCard and you would buy you had to buy in person in the cinema the ticket, and it would only allow you to buy for the same day. And the premise was simple. In terms of a business plan, their business plan was how to help cinemas basically fill up their seats by having a group of people who would pay a subscription fee, and they would cover their tickets, basically. It didn't work. They lost a lot of money, I think, in the first couple of years of them running, and the last iteration where they were actually starting to get traction in users, in a number of users, they went bankrupt, right? They lost a ton of money. And the thing is, they cannot compete with the actual franchises running the cinemas themselves. And if they start offering something like this, AMC, if they give that option, they are not losing money by allowing users to subscribe and come in and step into the cinemas, because they own the cinema. They have already paid the dues. If you're coming, then they at least get some more money on the concessions, right? MoviePass are only bleeding out money. If I buy something that'll cost me, I don't know, $10 a month, and I go to more than 2 or 3 movies a month, they're already losing money. So I can't see how they can stay afloat again. They made that mistake once. If they have a new plan, they should tell us what that new plan before we trust them again. And so
I think that goes for anybody who sells anything. They should tell you what you're going to get for your money.
Right. Yeah. But there was a plan before and it failed.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want me to trust this brand again, right, and not just repeat the last fiasco, what's different?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. They have not discussed that at all. They just say they sent an email blast of join the wait list, and I will. And I find it funny that they limit it to 5 days. I think they'll see surprisingly low numbers than what they expected. And that's what I hope will be. If not, then shame on us.
Oh, well. Yeah. And last, Americans addicted to Amazon could soon be wooed by a Chinese tech giant most of them have never heard of. And the best way I can pronounce this is Pinduoduo. It's Pinduoduo. Or Pinduoduo.
Excellent branding.
Is planning to expand its reach to the U.S. next month, according to reports in Bloomberg and Reuters. The company is known for delivering goods at rock-bottom prices while putting its employees through conditions that a prominent labor activist says should horrify Americans. Described by its founder, the former Google employee Colin Huang, as a cross between Costco and Disneyland. Pinduoduo has ridden a wave of meteoric Chinese tech growth from Meteor to become one of the largest e-commerce companies in the world since its founding in 2015. Now remember, if you're in China and you're operating in China and the government is telling you you need to work with this company, you right away you become one of the biggest one in the world because you're in China. But I'm sure
how is it any different than Alibaba? Isn't Alibaba the Amazon of China?
Supposedly.
Well, Alibaba is business to business.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, because I think I bought stuff off Alibaba.
You can.
Of AliExpress.
Yeah.
No, you can.
Which is a subsidiary of theirs, but that's the consumer side.
Right. Yeah. I bought from Alibaba, but it was for the company. That's right.
Yeah.
So
It's
we'll
always
see.
a toss up. Like when it comes to stuff like that, if the price is low, it's too good to be true. Because like I said, I've bought stuff off AliExpress, and some of the stuff was good. A lot of it was crap, but it was so cheap that I gambled.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I would trust it with tech though.
I bought quite a few things on Alibaba and AliExpress, and yeah, they're cheap stuff, but it's also cheap money wise, and it works.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
So, didn't Yahoo have something to do with AliExpress?
I have no idea.
Anybody remembers? I think Yahoo had something to do with them. But anyway, it's that time of day again. Anything else anybody wants to add?
I did see that Twitter's adding podcasts to their platform now.
Well, it's not. I don't know that they're.
Oh, that's good because Facebook just removed theirs. So
Really?
that works. Yeah, the Facebook just got rid of theirs. Yeah.
I think it what I was reading, it's more or less like sound clips and less like uploading huge, hour-long podcast stuff. But they're expanding their audio inventory, I guess, or capabilities or whatever. So that's interesting.
Well, I guess we need to look into it, huh? Anyhow, I guess that's it. Can't think of anything else. So if nobody else can think of anything else,
My brain is empty.
no, it's
as
not.
usual.
No, it's not.
It's Sunday morning.
All right.
I
Yeah.
won't be here
Right.
next week and probably the week after that as well. So
Right.
What the hell?
He's going.
I'm gonna meet. I'm gonna try and meet Spence.
You're going to Alaska?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
And then means we'll never see you again because wherever Spence is, he's gone. He's dead to us.
Yeah. So I told him if we actually get to meet, it'll be an awesome photo op because it's gonna be that so rare of occasions that two people on pinpoint to a very remote location together. So it'd be nice.
Well, enjoy. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Alan is saying for another time, could you discuss roaming eSIMs and free data offerings?
That we might need a subject
I don't know
matter
about
expert.
free data offering, but yeah,
We might need a subject expert for that. There's a lot of stuff packed into those questions, and that's predominantly a European thing. That is not a.
Yeah.
Most of that is not. eSIMs are becoming a little bit more popular in the U.S., but that's a huge European thing.
I know. What do you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, eSIMs are every Apple Watch with 5G or 3G connectivity. That's an eSIM.
Yeah, but I think the idea, like for example, I don't think most people know that if they have a new iPhone, you can have multiple SIM cards. You have a physical SIM, and you can have I think up to 2 eSIMs.
You mean add them in there?
Well, no, they're virtual. Like for example, if your company provides you a cell phone and you don't want the cell phone, if you don't want to carry on 2 phones, most companies, if they're realistic, you can get an eSIM and it's your same phone, but you just have 2 SIM cards, so two different phone numbers and the whole thing on. So it's just not very.
It doesn't
popular
require
here.
a physical card to replace it,
or another physical phone. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a digital handshake that happens on the network that identifies it. I don't understand it either, but it's a thing.
Yeah. So, Alan, yeah, we may not be the answer unless we find somebody who knows. All right. Well, thanks, Gal, and thanks, Nick.
Hey, I'll do some research. Remind me in the Discord or something. I'll do some eSIM research.
All right.
Remind me. I got nothing going on.
Yeah. It sounds to me like you got your voice back.
We'll see.
Thanks, Katie, for waking up on Sunday morning.
No problem. It's worth it to see y'all's beautiful faces.
Oh,
Now you're just blind.
She
I
wants
do have
something.
glasses.
She
Now you're
wants
just
something.
being disingenuous.
I need a new prescription.
She wants something. Katie.
Shh, it's a secret.
All right. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Donna. Dina, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And remember, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern, that is. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. You can ask your Echo device to play 980 The Wave. That's Nick's 6 to 9 news program. Or if you just want to listen to the recordings, you can go to nickcraig.com. And Tuesdays at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast on Twitch. This is for survival game and gaming news. So 7 p.m. on Tuesday, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.